Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to our Palm Masters video. So today we're going to talk a bit about the news thanks to Hilda and Victini. Although, before that, a quick word from the sponsor of this video. Alright, the sponsor of today's video is BuildBox. Recently, I've been having fun trying to build my own games to play, and BuildBox is definitely one of the easiest ways to do it without any coding experience at all. There's a lot of genres that you could build with BuildBox: puzzles, arcades, card games, shooters, and many of the top 100 games in the App Store have been using BuildBox as their #1 option to create their games, like Color Switch or Tractor Rush. If it's your first time, the Game Wizard can guide you and make your first game. Just pick the game type, find a template, then you could add unique assets from the BuildBox shop to make it your own. There's different versions you could go with. BuildBox Classic is an easy-to-start option for 2D games, where BuildBox 3 can do 2D and 3D for more hardcore builders. You can try them both for free, and once you've decided, you can find a plan that's best for you and start making revenue by either making your app a paid app, have in-app purchases, or from ad revenue. I'm more old school, so I'll probably go with the Classic Plus version, so for those who want to build your own game, click on the link in the description box down below and start building today. Alright, so Sygna suit Hilda and Victini, the upcoming Pokefair, right, should be out this reset, and as usual, we will be pulling for her live on the banner, so make sure you'll, tune in when that happens. Should be fun, hopefully. Haven't had very fun experiences recently, but hopefully this one's a bit better. 5 out of 5. But anyways, so this unit is a Fire Striker, and before you say, what? I already have like 7 other Fire Strikers sitting at home. Why should I care about this unit? Well, mostly because this unit is very good. It's a very, 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 very powerful unit, right? Even if it is a Fire Striker, right? People say it, but look, there's a lot of great things to this unit. Obviously, I mean, if you just straight up look at the stats, look at these freaking stats, man. 568 on both physical and special attack for absolutely no reason. 436 on speed, and not that it matters, but low-key 720 HP is a decent amount of HP on top of, okay, the defenses aren't that great, but that aside, right? It's a pretty freaking, powerful unit just from the stats alone. And of course it doesn't stop there. So searing shot, so it's a damage, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like Sygna Red, where it has 2 ways of dealing its damage. One being an AoE sort of fire type, move, and then special move, and then the other one, there's like a physical single target move, right? Kind of like Red in a way, except Red has like 3 and then like 2 special and 1 physical. It's whatever. It's like it's Red but like better. All right. Mostly because it hits harder. And you also have like confusion here for like some reason. I really don't know why they added it here, but they did give it like an extra bit of a multiplier, I guess. Although you could also argue that they could have, put in a more useful move in there and have that extra 20% multiplier based on like something else, which, yeah. But there's that as well, I guess. So yeah. As for the trainer move, very good trainer move. So +3 crit, and then when the attack is raised, raise the special attack by the same amount, and then raise the accuracy of your team by 1, so your V crit doesn't miss, right? And yeah, just you come in with +6 physical attack. So unless the opponent also has like some entry passive that like lowers your physical attack, you will, one shot get +3 crit, +6 special attack, and +6 physical attack. Very, very easy to max out your own stats, right? And then yeah, V crit is just very powerful. V crit is just very, very powerful for a very high BP move, right? That also lowers all these random stats, which doesn't get lowered because you have downside up, right? And then on top of the high special and physical attack, and then boom, you have fire rebuff now, 2 units that could fire rebuff, and also you have sun. This thing is going to be hitting very, very, very hard. Very, very, very hard. Right, I mean, especially if you could have gauges, I don't think this is possible, but in a theoretical world where you'd have enough gauges, right? Victini, plus Maxi Groudon, right, with the extra physical, you know, master passive buff for physical moves, right, because V-Create is mostly, you know, V-Create is physical, and then you have like a fire type fire rebuff unit, whether it be Gordy or the new Hilbert, right, whatever that would be. Hilda would be putting up generational numbers there. So yeah, big numbers, right? The calcs back it up. Very powerful over here, right? And should be the strongest striker, fire type striker nuker as well, right? Even more so than Leon, even with the extra, you know, super effective up on Leon, right? Which is kind of crazy, right? Because this is obviously, you could also add super effective up to Hilda as well if you bring a unit that could, like a classic red or whatever, right? So yeah, she is very powerful, right? In terms of like fire type strikers, off type wise, just like neutral wise, she should be the strongest one, right? Even though you have like Hilbert up here, but Hilbert also has like, this is calculated with rebuff, and again, Hilda could also get rebuff herself, so it doesn't really matter in terms of that. And yeah, I don't know, she's just really powerful, man. not a very you know, interesting unit, not very there's not so many bells and whistles here. It's just you go in there, press your trainer move once, maybe get the opponent confused, right, and then you just start blowing the opponent up, just blowing them up, right? In the grid, you got stuff like Rising Tide, right? You got that, again, Confusion Synergy, which is very cringe that they had to do this, but it's all right, I guess. You could live, I suppose. There's some other sync stuff, the Scorching Sync 5, although it's a bit of an awkward place to pick it up, honestly. But you know, otherwise, it's fine, right? And yeah, Burn Synergy here as well, extra 10%. Not that it's a lot, but again, like with the unit with very high base stats and BP, you don't need that many multipliers to make her like hit like crazy, right? So yeah, I'd say she's the most powerful fire type striker in the game. That's for sure. And yeah, in terms of the grid, right, in terms of like, oh, how many copies do you want to pull for? Look, you see this stat, 568 special attack, 568 physical attack. That's you get that at like nothing out of 5. Well, okay, you have to like at least pull one unit, but you pull one and that's all there. The 500 something attack, special attack, the, you know, 200 something BP on V create, right? Well, I guess 1 out of 5 is only 200, but still, right? Downside up, the Fierce Entry 6, Recharging Strike 9, also very good for gauges too, and the max crit stuff. You get that at 1 out of 5. None of this stuff is on the grid. A bulk of all her damage is from her base kit. To be fair, most units are. Well, not all, but most. Like there are some units with like over like 200% like pass like multipliers in the grid. Those a bulk of their damage did come from the grid. But Hilda especially over here, right? So much damage just straight up from this number. Well, I guess Searing Shot isn't that good, but you know, mainly this, not that. This number and this number, right? And yeah, again, 1 out of 5, there's nothing spectacular otherwise in the grid, but 2 out of 5, you do get some sync move power-ups, right? You get 1 sync move power-up node. There's a attack plus 10 over here. Burn Synergy 1 is decent. There's some other like random stuff like hit and heal, I guess. She could be a tank in, you know, some stages that don't hit as hard, because she does take a while to build up her defenses with V-Create, but you could get there eventually. So I guess hit and heal if you really want. But yeah, as for 3 out of 5, you have most of the stuff, right? Like Rising Tide is here, Confusion Synergy is here, again, Scorching Sync or whatever is there as well. Aggravation on Confusion, or else like you're not gambling on that 10%, man. Holy, no, you're not doing that. Super duper effective 3 on Searing Shot if you want to use Searing Shot for some reason. And this is here too, if you want. Again, it's a bit of a hard place to reach generally, right? Because generally you don't want to pick up stuff like this. And then obviously, I mean, 3 out of 5 is most of the rest of the grid. But yeah, as for what 4 out of 5, Hostile Environment 3 and Team Precision Strike are trash. They are not that useful. And 5 out of 5, you have Sundering Burn and Propulsion 9 for the win. Propulsion 9 for the win is very, 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 very dependent on your team, right? It could be either completely useless or pretty nice, right? If you get the entire turnoffs, but fire units, I guess Singsu, if you run her with like Singsu May, but generally there aren't that many. Or if you get like lucky on the propulsions on like SS Red or like Groudon if you're running them. But again, generally not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it. Sundering Burn is nice, right? The guaranteed defense, special defense debuffs every time you hit burned opponents. But that also kind of depends on the team comp too, right? Because I do not recommend picking up like Hostile Environment 3, because A, that means you'll have to use Searing Shot, and yeah, it's not the best option. But Sundering Burn, if you can get a burn in with someone on your team, that could definitely be nice. If you can't, or if it's relatively hard, then honestly not really worth it, because like look how like think about it, like how long it would actually take for you to start reaping the benefits of that, right? If you want to get it to max it out, to get to the -6, right? First you have to wait for your team to get a burn in, right? Assuming you're not using like someone with like Willows where 100% burn chance, right? You have to go through multiple, probably, you know, at least 2 turns, right, to try to burn the opponent. And then like after that you have to like every hit is only -1, so it's gonna take a while, right? And also I think it's RNG there, right? Yeah, it's RNG. You might not even get the right one. So I feel like this node, it might look a bit flashy, but ultimately it's actually not that good, right? So definitely not a unit you want to go for the 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. And again, in my opinion, the 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 kind of suck here. So please, unless you're me, don't go, or another whale, whatever. Don't go for the 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 on this Victini. Not really worth it. Not really worth it. But or if you do have money, I guess I can't tell you how to spend your money, obviously. But yeah, anyways, as for the unit, right, let's see, what are some other banners we do have to slightly consider? Well, yeah, well, I guess the Hilbert banner is also coming up, so that's another banner you probably should consider, I suppose. As for the banners that are up right now, it really depends, right? It really depends, because she is a very, very powerful fire-type striker. Very, very, very powerful fire-type striker. But some people might argue, well, as good as she is, I already have 7, 8 really, really, really good fire-type strikers. Do I need another one, right? So it's really, it's a good unit. Very, 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 very powerful unit, right? This is like, you know, Bornine, this is like SS Serena levels of powerful, but do you want to spend your gems on another super broken fire type unit, or do you want to spend your gems on something else that could maybe fill out like a niche? Fall Iris, for example, right? That would be a very, very good example to compare. Do you want to spend your gems on this new Singsu Hilda, which is so much better than Fall Iris? This is not even close, right? Or do you want to spend your gems on Fall Iris, which is definitely a weaker unit, but it's a bit more useful, right, in terms of poison type, helping your poison type damage versus helping your fire type damage, which, again, unless you're super new, I'd assume most people should at least have, well, at least you'll have like one good fire type striker, which is silver, which is free, right? But yeah, it really depends on you, right? But there's also the argument of she is so freaking powerful, who cares that she's fire type? She will blow up everything off type, which is also very, very true and also very, very valid, which is why I do think, even though she is a fire type, there are other considerations that, you know, It's a very, very common type. But I'd still say generally she's still worth pulling for being how powerful she is, right? So, yeah, I mean, who cares what weakness type you're facing? She will blow them up. I'd give this banner probably an 8.9 out of 10. A few reasons why it's not like higher, I guess. One is still the fire thing, right? Which even though I don't completely agree with that, for the most part, I guess I could see both sides of that in a sense, right? So there's that fire thing still, but there's also the fact that it's still a Pokefair, which again doesn't really mean that much. Pokefairs are 100% worth summoning on, right? It's just that with how long it's taking them to rerun Master Fairs, right? And look, they're not gonna, it's Univark just doesn't have a Master Fair, I guess, right? But I just have a nagging feeling December is they might drop something big Master Fair wise. Again, doesn't mean you should completely skip out on units like these, because units like these are very, very, very powerful, right? I mean, some of the best units in the game are Pokefairs, right? I mean, Singsu Deoxys, right? Or Steven and Deoxys, obviously one of the best units in the game, is a Pokefair. But yeah, which is also, again, why I have it, very, 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 very highly recommended in terms of unit pulver. But yeah, I mean, the Genesect coming up is also very, very good too. So there's also that to consider. What else is coming up? The EVs, we'll have to see the format of the banners, because like we really don't know 100%, right? It seems like they are definitely limited, but I'm not sure like the rates, all that stuff, how that's gonna go. As for Singsu N, yeah, I'd probably go for Hilda over N. I don't know. we'll see, I guess. But yeah, yeah, there's quite a few units worth pulling for right now. But if you do want to save for whatever is in December, you could do that. Obviously, it's your gems, your choice, right? But my personal recommendation is leaning towards yes, I'd say. But there's a lot of good units. So, anyways, that's it for this one. Hope y'all enjoyed. Guys, think in the comments down below. Like the videos from our channel for some more Poem Mouse content, all that stuff. Have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.